friends, welcome back to my channel. So I'm reading today for Capricorn energy and I'm reading for the first part of 2024. I started to channel your energy a couple of days ago and I pulled some cards from my own deck and the King and the Throne came out. And I was getting this feeling of, I think like the Two of Swords came out as well. And I was getting this weird mix of like Capricorn and Aquarius. So it was kind of like, I can't remember exactly what was making me think this. Let me just go back to my notes, guys. Oh, I had Raven, King, and Throne. And I was thinking to myself, well, if it was Capricorn, it'd be the King of Pentacles, right? The King of Earth. But then the Raven kind of gave me like an air quality to it. So I thought, well, it's kind of like Aquarius. And so I like talk about it a lot. Pluto is moving from Capricorn to Aquarius. So Cappies, you may feel this kind of shift between feeling like the King or Queen of Earth and then moving towards the King or Queen of Air. What do I mean by this? Capricorn, you're an Earth sign. You tend to be Capricorns can be a little bit out there, I find. I think maybe especially those of you who are on the cusp of Capi Aqua, you like but Capricorn as an energy itself, like as a sign, being an earth sign tends to be very practical, very organized. Capricorn's associated with work or commitments or responsibilities, reputation, kind of all these realms that Capricorn is very, very good at naturally. And then the more Aquarian energy, like the King of Air, would be maybe somebody who's more interested in technology and kind of like innovation, thinking more about kind of like the group and society and the people and ecology and like ecology, maybe. What do I mean by that? Like thinking about the earth, thinking about the greater good. That's very, very Aquarius. And then being very good at kind of like communication and ideas and things like this. So earth signs tend to rule practical matters like hands-on things, and air signs tend to be more like intellectual pursuits, ideas, this sort of thing. Now, it's not to say that you do one and not the other, because I think everybody's kind of a mix of all the different signs and things like that. So everybody does a bit of different things. It's kind of being say you were the King or Queen of Pentacles, though technically you're the Queen of Pentacles, so this could be talking about somebody that you're dealing with. But say you're the Master of Pentacles, right? You're the Master of Earth. It's kind of like this feeling of like you've done that, you've mastered that. It could be that you've mastered some sort of skill, or maybe got some kind of job position you wanted, or maybe you're just very good at kind of managing your household, managing your family. It feels like you've got some sort of success in those kind of areas. Where it's kind of like, okay, so what do I do now? And then so it's kind of like the way it was coming through to me, like the King with two minds. It was almost like two modes of thinking, two ways of thinking, which is really, really interesting. When I talk about the cards that have come out, I can absolutely see exactly what the message is. The message in the cards is very, very, very clear. Yep. Then kind of I've got some other things as well, and I'll talk about them kind of if and when they come up, because I don't want to kind of mangle the message. The message itself is, I am quite certain of what this is saying, and you'll see why when I kind of get into the cards. But when I pulled my cards today, so like I say, I had like the King on the throne. So I was getting this feeling of like you having some sort of success, some kind of achievement, maybe some kind of leadership position, or, some kind of authority in your life. It feels like you've kind of got control of the situation, got control of the family is always coming through. And then the Dagger and the Priest came out, and I thought, well, who is this? Who's the Dagger and the Priest? So the Priest, to me, in my own deck, talks about, and it doesn't have to be any particular religion or anything like that, but if it means something to you, go with it. I have got this kind of priest energy for a while for you, Cabs. It comes through as a little bit not that it's not trustworthy, but maybe you are not sure about this. You're not quite sure about if you can trust this energy. I can't tell you one way or another. But with the dagger, so the priest card to me talks about a keeper of sacred knowledge, right? Somebody who has a kind of library of wisdom at their disposal. Like they know things, right? And they're normally willing to kind of share this knowledge with others. The dagger card to me in my own personal deck talks about hidden truths or hidden strategies. It's kind of like the difference between the dagger and the sword is kind of like a symbol of authority, you know, and it's kind of known and seen, where the dagger is more surreptitious. It's kind of not necessarily bad, but it's kind of like a concealed weapon, if you want to put it that way. And again, swords and daggers and things like this can mean truths. So it's kind of like a hidden truth. Now, the really interesting thing to me is you've got this secret card that came out on the underlying, and it's kind of tying in with it. It's like the keeper of some secret knowledge is the way it's coming through. So it's coming through a little bit like the king is the keeper of the secret knowledge, or something like this. Because the funniest thing to me, when I started to shuffle this deck, I hadn't even pulled any cards yet. And this card came out, and on the underlying was the Emperor. So the Emperor and the High Priestess. It seems very, very clear to me. In fact, the messages could not be clearer. And I like this, the Emperor and the High Priestess. It gives me kind of like Tanaquil. Like my channel's named after Tanaquil, who's this figure. She's a kingmaker, basically. She's able to interpret the signs of the gods, and she kind of creates two kings of Rome. She kind of she basically she interprets these signs, and she says, you're going to be the next king of Rome. And then like when that king dies, she's like, you're going to be the next king of Rome. So this Etruscan I don't think she was a priestess, she was a woman, right? But it just interesting to me, right? The Emperor and the High Priestess. Now I've been playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and I've actually been playing Baldur's Gate now, and I'm really into it. And so this whole set of readings has this kind of fantasy-esque theme to it. But I thought how fascinating, the Emperor and the High Priestess, it does kind of feel like what you find in those kind of fantasy books, right? You normally have the Emperor, and they kind of always have like a priest or a sorcerer or a wizard or something that's kind of like, their oracle, they get the wisdom from them, the advisor to the king, but the advisor in kind of arcane magic, or like a cleric. I was kind of getting this cleric energy with the priest. So yeah, really, really interesting. It feels a little bit like working together. Now, if I go back to some of the songs that were coming through for you the other day, I did kind of have this feeling of, I'm just going through my notes. I don't know if you have this feeling of like doing something you shouldn't, or something that feels it's almost like, sometimes like if you're doing certain magic spells or something like that. I don't know if anyone, I don't know, because you've got the magic card here, so it sounds a bit out there, but it's in the reading, so I'm going to talk about it. It feels a little bit kind of like dabbling with something that feels a bit wrong. So for example, if you were always brought up in a certain faith, and you wanted to get into, spells or tarot or astrology, and it's always been seen as like a witchy thing that you shouldn't do. And so when you try it, sometimes it can feel a little bit like, you're doing something really naughty, that you're doing something that you've been taught not to do, something like that. And then you had the song Stroke of Luck by Garbage, which says, stroke of luck or gift from God, something, or devil's, let me just say. So it's like you don't know if you can trust something or not, is the way it's coming through. What did I call it? What's it called again? Stroke of Luck. I'm just going to get the lyrics up. Stroke of Luck. Garbage. Let me just pull the lyrics up so you know what I'm kind of talking about here when I say this. So it says, I lose what I love most. Did you know I was lost until you found me? A stroke of luck or a gift from God, hand of fate or devil's claws. From below or saints above, you came to me. Here comes the cold again. That's significant. I feel it closing in. It's falling down and all around me. You say you'll be there to catch me, or will you only try to trap me? So it's like this distrust, right? It says stroke, like, it's like meeting somebody, and it doesn't have to be this whole, I'm an emperor and oh gosh, I've met this high priestess, this is a stroke of luck. It doesn't have to be quite that extreme, right? But it could be on a more mundane level, like meeting somebody and it feels like, right person at the right time, and it feels like they're trying to help you or advise you or teach you something. But this feeling of, can I trust this? I do wonder if some of you have trust issues. That comes from, a lot of times the trust issues come from, fear that something's going to, fear because of things that have happened to you in the past, I guess. Yeah, it says stroke of luck or gift from God, hand of fate or devil's claws. So it's like, were you sent by God? Were you sent by the devil? Is it fate? Was it just luck? Like, but you're here, right? So yeah, really strange. And then what else as well? So you got As Is and Thunder by Lana Del Rey. So As Is says, what bothers me is that you don't know how you feel. So that's what I mean. It's like somebody doesn't know. I don't know if somebody's kind of, again, it's like this thing about being in two minds. I want to say you're the one that's in two minds. It's like you can't make your mind up about something. Because on the one hand, it feels like it's calling to you, or it's natural, or it's lucky. And on the other side, it feels wrong and kind of like almost devilish. It's really strange. So I want to say the other energy, and do flip it and reverse it as you need to. It's like the other energy, Annie D. Franco. So I'm just pulling up the lyrics to this other song. All the songs will be in the description box down below for you. I can't find the lyrics. Just give me a sec. Okay, so it says, so it feels like this is the message to you, because again, it was almost this thing about like the emperor, which I'm saying is you, but do flip it and reverse it as needs be. Again, these could be two sides of yourself, because it's got this two minds energy. It's like this person who's, got a level of success or achievement and authority, is scared of what people are going to think of them, or it's like scared of things, how this affects your reputation, or something like this. It says, you can't hide behind social graces, so don't try to be all touchy-feely, because you lie in my face of all places. But I've got no problem with that, really. What bugs me is that you believe what you're saying. What bothers me is that you don't know how you feel. What scares me is that while you're telling me your stories, you actually believe they are real. And I have no illusions about you. Guess what? I never did. But when I said I'd take it, when I said I'll take it, I mean as is. Just give up and admit you're an asshole. You would be in some good company. I think you'll find that your friends would forgive you, or maybe I'm just speaking for me. And so it's like, she's kind of saying like, I don't expect you to be perfect, right? It's like someone who's like, I know the good parts. I mean, again, it could be you to this person or them to you. Flip it and reverse it as you see fit. But it's got this feeling of like, I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what you are. And I'm not asking you to change. I like you as you are, right? Kind of like warts and all, I like the worst, I'll take the rough with the smooth, something like that. And then thunder as well. Again, I can't figure out who's who in this reading. It's like there's two energies coming through. So Thunder by Lana Del Rey, she says, you roll like thunder when you come in. Town ain't been the same since you left with all your friends. You roll like thunder when you come crashing in. Regattas in the wind, that's why you're visiting. You act like Mr. fucking Brightside when you're with all your friends, but I know what you're like when the party ends. So again, it's this feeling of, you've got this kind of like, again, whether it's you or somebody around you, it's like somebody has like a Jekyll and Hyde sort of quality, which I was getting all this originally, again, a couple of days ago when I was doing your reading, I was getting all this kind of Jekyll and Hyde in two minds energy. And then you're reading, when I've pulled cards, it's really, really confirming it for me. I feel like this is the most clear reading I've done for a while. And I know you've had this before, Capricorn. I know that the things that are coming up in these set of readings have been around before for you. And she says, if you're on fire, you're on fire. You should just keep burning. And then all my love for you cuts me like barbed wire. Again, it's this doubling energy, or this, there's all these polar opposites, right? This kind of, like I say, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or my love for you burns me like barbed wire, or you know, is it from the hand of God or from devil's claws? It's this real polarized, all these polarized messages that keep coming through. So, okay. And even with like the secrets and the links, it's like the smoky mirror. There's this feeling of like a distortion or not seeing something clearly. Underneath that is the sorcerer as well. The sorcerer, and then underneath secrets is equality, which is really interesting because the one card that came out in reverse for you is the equator. So it's like this thing about equality and non-equality, what is and isn't equal, especially to do with gender roles, because like seahorses talk about a gender role reversal, you know, of traditional archetypes. I don't know. Smoky mirror, the sorcerer, the secrets, the links. So I feel like the emperor is keeping this arcane knowledge to himself, is the way it's coming through. There's also something about gratitude. You do have this gratitude card here, and then new beginnings. You've got all this first breath, new beginnings, 10 of fire. So like I say, you've got gratitude, and something was coming through the other day about especially if somebody has either a Mercury Capricorn placement or a Venus Capricorn placement, it's like this inability to express your gratitude to someone, or somebody doing this to you. Again, you may be dealing with another person who has Capricorn placements. So it's this feeling of like, because especially like Capricorn Mercury, Capricorn Venus, it can be, people can express their feelings for somebody in a very earthy way. So rather than, you know, writing love poetry or, you know, being very expressive and romantic, or very glib with their words, it's more like a consistent showing up for people, you know, like, I appreciate you, so I'll buy you things, or I appreciate you, so I'm going to make sure you know, you've got good food to eat, I'm going to cook for you. So it's like showing up for people in a more practical, hands-on, pentacly way. And again, sometimes Capricorn can be a little bit like, well, I told you I loved you once 5 years ago, why do I have to keep on telling you, right? If something changes, I'll let you know. So yeah, if somebody has kind of Capricorn Mercury or Capricorn Venus specifically, it could be really hard to express gratitude to someone and express thanks, because it feels like a bit like the person who got you on the throne, right? It's like it just feels awkward, like it's like saying thank you feels awkward or something. So yeah, like I say, you've got new beginnings and first breath, and oh, that's so funny. Underneath first breath, like the dream thief with that card. It's like someone stole secrets, or, and then there's the face, right? Hand of fate, like something that's fated. So yeah, it's got this feeling of like something new starting, but you have to kind of like it's like you've got to finish what you started before you start something new, right? So you've got to kind of square something away, or kind of like maybe even like do a ritual, because like the priest and the dagger sort of feels a little bit like something that's like some sort of ritual, or even like something that's been sacrificed in order to have a new beginning. You know, it's like you have to let go of the old before the new can come in. So something like that going on there in the underline as well. Because yeah, underneath, like, exactly, oh my god, like, oh, it's really nice. Okay, so underneath the 10 of fire, which is this, it always feels to me like the image in this card is kind of like you know, doing something to kind of symbolize the end of something. So for example, if you left a relationship, you might burn the love letters or burn the photos. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think, you know, you are what your past has made you, you know, like your past is part of who you are today, but it could be like releasing yourself from something as well, like you know, an old work contract, so you burn the old contract because it's like, I'm free, or whatever it is. But it's like this symbolic and so doing something to symbolically, energetically release you from something. But underneath that, God, let me just grab a load of this, all this newness. Oh my God, Queen of Air there as well. Love that for what I'm going to tell you next. Oh, yeah. So yeah, underneath that, underneath this symbolic ending is a new beginning, and it's a new offer. It's something new and practical and real coming in. So again, this could be like a job offer, but then like the King of Fire with the Queen of Earth. So again, you tend to be the Queen of Earth in the tarot, but it feels really warm, it feels really safe and nurturing. And then it also saw underneath kind of having options, you know, happiness and truth with the Ace of Swords there. So it feels like something really, really good coming in, like something really new, something really, really good after you release something. But releasing something seems to be the thing that's giving you some anxiety. Like the Nine of Swords is kind of like, it can be actually quite bad mental health issues. Like it's, I sort of see the Four of Swords, which is here, as when you're a bit stressed out and you just need a good night's sleep, or you just need a week off or something like that, where the Nine of Swords tends to be something that's going on for a long time. So it's like something that's causing you considerable stress or anxiety, like keeping you up at night. It's kind of like your thoughts have got a bit of a grip on you. So interesting with the polar bears, you have the polar bear here and here. That symbolizes Pisces for me, but it could be literally polar bears for you. I don't know. But again, underneath that is like the Ten of Cups. So you've got like the Ten of Cups popping up there a few times as well. So it's like, it's really weird. Okay, I'm going to move my cards off the table, and we'll talk about what's come through for you today. So like I said, this kind of popped out today. The King of Charisma as well. Yeah, the King of Charisma, like you roll like thunder when you come crashing through. So it's like, whether this is you or somebody around you, I feel like somebody's in a position where, I'm just thinking about all those old leadership readings that you used to have. It was like you had all these readings that were like, take the lead, take the lead, take the lead. It's like you're the right person at the right time. And I did have that kind of Tanaquil feeling for you. Do you remember it kept on coming through with the deer? And it was like, take the lead. And it kept on coming through for like a series of readings for you. And it was like, there's a position, like whether it's like a job position, like a leadership position that you need to step into, or it's like, you know, something to do with family where like you're becoming the head of the family. And there was all these different ways that it was coming through, but it was like, take the lead, Capricorn. And I remember being like, you've got to go for it. And so now it feels like you're in that position, right? It feels like, and it doesn't have to be me. It's like, I'm not saying that I'm the high priestess. I'm not saying I'm the Tanaquil. I'm saying that it's coming through to me in ways that I understand it, but this situation could be quite difficult for you. But like I say, it feels like King of Charisma, the Emperor. It feels like when you achieve a level of success, and there's definitely something about success, you start with the Chariot card. You know, there's a lot of attention on you. There's a lot of eyes on you. The pressure builds to maintain a good reputation because more depends on it, right? There's more at stake. So it's almost like, you know, you're getting this real strong energy, Caps, of, and again, take gender out of it, just flip and reverse, you know, as you see fit. But it's coming through like all work and no play make Jack a dull boy, right? So it's kind of like the pressure to maintain like everybody's approval is stressful in itself, something like that. And that's kind of maybe a bit why you've got this kind of gift of God or devil's claws. It's like almost like every cloud has a silver lining, but the reverse, it's like every silver lining has a cloud, right? Everything that comes your way that's good has conditions. You know, everything that comes your way that's good has problems. It's like nothing is ever just good, right? It's like everything is always a mix of good and bad, something like that perhaps. Okay, so what I got for you, I went into meditation before I pulled your cards, and I always use kind of meditation sounds on Spotify. So I didn't really, sometimes I kind of get a bit of a vibe. So I'm going to talk about Cancer specifically, because your reading is relating to their reading. They're your opposite sign though. Again, you've got this polarity. So there could be something about that, right? For example, I'm Capricorn South Node, which means I'm Cancer North Node. So there could be something like that coming into your reading, this kind of polarity of Capricorn and Cancer. Yeah, so for example, Cancer's reading, they had this thing about being really cold, and I think I started to listen because of that to sounds that sounded like they would be in this certain place in my mind. I can't quite remember now, it's a few readings ago, but for you, I didn't have any specific place or any specific mood that came to me immediately. So I just went on, it's like TM Soft's sleep sounds. And the most recent one that's added is blizzard sounds, like, cold, icy blizzard sounds. It's making me think of the game now. The game company Blizzard, are they still in business? I don't know. I remember something going on with them a while ago, but I don't remember exactly what. Wait, hang on. Did Blizzard do Warhammer? That'd be crazy if they did. Wait a second, guys. Why did I want to say Mama needs to do her research? I would never say something like that. That must be something to do with your reading or your energy, because I would never speak like that. That's not the way I talk. Mama needs to do her research. Okay, hang on. Blizzard. Oh my God, there's a song called Blizzard by Lana Del Rey. I did not. It's Lizzie Grant. How did I not know this, guys? I love the Lizzie Grant songs. Release them on Spotify. I dare you. Lizzie Grant. Caught up in a blizzard yesterday. Ought to be alone, or so I say. I needed a change of scenery. She was really starting to annoy me. I went out shopping and planned to go to all them vintage stores. Then I got tired and ended up in some lame department store, and that's okay because I found a really cool belt. I feel like I'm in high school again. So maybe you're missing being in high school, right? You've got a bit of nostalgia for something. I need to listen to that song later. Blizzard games, Blizzard Entertainment. They do, no way! They do Diablo and they do World of Warcraft. That is so funny because, like I say, I've been playing like Baldur's Gate, and talking about D&D. It's like, similar vibes, right? What? That is mad. That must be significant to somebody. Okay. I love it when things come full circle. It may not be for everybody, right? It might be like a message from one person or something that's going on, kind of. I sometimes channel things and it's like an ongoing message, and then it's like something that happens in the news like that week. So there could be something going on with, that company. Okay, so... Okay. So I was channeling, I was meditating using these blizzard snow sounds, and I found myself kind of as I entered into the meditation for you, I felt like I was in my own little realm. For those of you who've not been watching all the readings, like I say, this has a bit of a D&D theme, because I've kind of been creating my own environment in my mind so that I can kind of host D&D parties like with my family, and so having to be very, very detailed and very well thought out, so that depending on what the group wants to do, I've got all these different scenarios and situations and characters that they can meet that are kind of quite well thought out beforehand. So yeah, I went heavily into it. So I've got all these new, and all the places in this are kind of based on my own deck of cards, which I've had for a while, and the places that I do go to in my meditations already. I've just kind of taken these motifs and ideas and dreams and things like that and kind of created an entire, it's like one big world instead of fragments now. Basically everything's interwoven and connected. So it's been really pleasurable for me, by the way. It's been like, when you get into like Page of Swords energy and you just get into that kind of creative ideas space of like, this is really new, I'm really invested in it, this is really exciting to me. So it's been a really, really creative, enjoyable project for me. So I do encourage you all to kind of use your imagination more and create these kind of worlds inside your mind. I think there's a lot of good things that can come of it, but like I say, so I was up this listening to meditation sounds, and I found myself up in the mountains basically, and in my own little imagination, these mountains are it's kind of a mountain range. There's different kind of kingdoms along it, but it's all kind of connected by these highlands, which are spruce forests going into like very, very snowy mountains. And in Cancer's reading, which I was thinking about at the time, because I was thinking to myself, in Cancer's reading, I felt like I was much lower down this particular mountain. And it's like Cancer was trying to get to the top of this mountain, trying to get to the peak, but they were still really low down, and the blizzard was getting so bad that they just thought they were never ever going to get to the peak of it. It was like impossible for them. Where you felt kind of much higher up, this mountain already. So this could be talking about like achievements. Mountains sometimes symbolize, climbing the career ladder, or achieving something that seems very difficult in your life. But you felt really high up, and you actually felt much more at home in that environment. So you felt like you were one of the people who would be familiar with this environment. And so I do have characters that kind of traverse these kind of very snowy, kind of mountainous forests, and they have wolves. The actual particular, I'm sorry, some of you are like, what is she talking about? But just listen, like, bear with me while I get through this. Yeah, particularly there's kind of like hunters that can move around these forests, adventurers, hunters, this kind of thing, and they're very familiar with it, and they know how to kind of like live off the land and protect themselves and all this. And so a lot of them have wolves are particularly symbolic of this place. And so I did feel for you like you had a wolf by your side. It's like I felt like I had I was climbing this mountain and I had my companion animal next to me. And so like I say, I felt like I was it was more achievable for me to be able to get to the peak of this place. So I was getting all this through in the meditation, and then I swear to you that I do not set anything up. The way the cards come through is genuinely how the cards come through. I shuffle 10 decks. Each deck I shuffle 3 times while I focus on your energy. Whichever cards come out, like as I shuffle 3 times, I put them all together, and then I do your spread, right? I kind of like shuffle that new deck, which is like a combined deck of all different decks from different cards, from different decks, and I kind of reshuffle, and that's how I get the spread in the order of your cards. So you can see like the cards are from all different decks, and then I get these messages, and it's crazy to me still, even though I've been doing it for such a long time, how sometimes the cards can come out like there's like 1,000 cards that my guides could pick from, and sometimes it's just crazy to me how on point they are. So the very first card that came out for you was this. It's exactly what I was seeing in the meditation. I mean, exactly, right? Like this, it feels like it's a mountainous environment. You can even see that it's like spruce trees. It's all very blue and blizzardy. There's all this snow, and there's wolves, right? So how crazy to me. So I felt like, you were trying to, okay, the thing is, in this meditation, this particular mountain that, Cancer was trying to climb but just couldn't, they were so far off. It's like they didn't have the tools, the experience, the whatever it was that they needed to get up there. But they were curious about what was up there. You feel like this is much more natural to you. It's almost like this is your family, like this is where you came from. So this mountain, you can navigate it, right? So there's all like caves and things, so you don't even have to climb it from the outside. It's actually probably better to go inside the cave, and it's magical, and it shifts, like in the labyrinth, how everything kind of or in Harry Potter, the staircases that kind of shift around. It's like the caves kind of shift around. It's all like mirrors and ice and diamonds, and hang on, my cat wants to come in. I just know he's coming to be a nuisance again, like he did in Virgo's reading. What are you doing? So yeah, like I say, like this this mountain, it's all shifting, and it's magical, and it has this kind of quality of higher knowledge, right? Higher learning, higher knowledge, but also being very connected with the stars and being very connected with, divine guidance. And it's kind of the people who live in this place are interested in kind of like wisdom and knowledge and innovation and those kind of Aquarian things I was talking about before. You're just knocking all my cards over. Do you want to come up and say hi? Come on then. Let me move that. Come on. There we go. There we go. Do you want to go on the window ledge? Sorry, guys. Talking about animals, though, animals are kind of part of your reading. I'm going to be honest. Like, go on, stop knocking into that and go over there. No, he wants a fuss. Okay, great. Don't put your nose on the joystick. So, yeah, so it's so funny to me. Like, it's almost like exactly what was coming through in meditation is showing up in your cards. Oh dear, the state of this place, guys. Pets, right? Am I right? Pets are family too. Yes, you are. You need attention. Yeah, there could be something to do with family. Now, the funny thing as well is, like I say, everything that came up in the meditation kind of came through. The next card that came out was the Chariot. Now, again, the Chariot is Cancer's card. So again, I'm getting this real Cancerian energy for you of like, but it also talks about being in control, and kind of having success and being very celebrated. So again, it's almost coming through the kind of emperor energy. But can you see how there's three figures here? There's the figure in the back, the big figure who's kind of in charge, in control, and then these two other wolves or two horses in the foreground. So the horses in the Chariot card, or the wolves in this family card, talk about two different separations. It's also funny with like the two fish going in different directions. So it's kind of like you know how I was talking about being in two minds. It's kind of like you know, say your children, say for example, it could be something really simple like what do you want for tea tonight? And one kid is like, I want pizza, and the other kid is like, I want pasta. And it's kind of like, well, I don't want to do both. So it's kind of like, do I do pasta or do I do pizza, right? So it's that kind of thing. It's like there's a difference of opinion about the direction that you're going in. So there's this, almost feels like a parting of ways, but not, right? There's an intention, I think, with the Chariot to bring the family back together again, or to get everybody on the same page or going in the same direction. And it could be that you've had some success in this, like you've had some success in you know, perhaps you felt like your family was branching off in different directions, so you feel like you've successfully kind of brought, you know, these two minds under control, right? It's like the two differences of opinion, or the two different pathways. You feel a little bit like you're, oh gosh, you've just blinked everything everywhere. You feel a little bit like you're managing this very well, and you're managing it quite successfully. So again, it could be like the idea of kind of, you know, half the family wants to do one thing, half wants to do the other thing, and you're getting you kind of fostering some kind of like middle ground approach, or something that feels very fair to everybody, which again feels very, very sensible. But this seems to definitely be in the realm of the practical, because the next card we have is the Earth card. So it feels very much like, I'll show you the two cards. So the next two cards that came out were the Earth card and the Lightning card. And you can see there's a figure in both of these cards. So you have like this Earth figure here, and then you have this, can you see the figure in the background here? Here's his head, and like he's got these two arms, and here's his like torso. So there's these two energies, right? It's kind of like the Earth keeper and the keeper of, it's kind of like earth and air is the way it's coming through, like the keeper of the earth and the keeper of the sky. And you had, oh sorry, I just banged the cat on the head, I'm so sorry. So it's kind of like you know, having, I want to say these are the two energies that you're drawing from. It's almost like two minds being held in one place. So you could even think about kind of like, you know, the brain has the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. You know, you've got your creative mind, your emotional side, and then you've kind of got your logical kind of intellectual side of your brain. And sometimes these two sides of ourselves can kind of pull us in different directions, and it feels that way for you. And again, it feels like Capricorn and Aquarius, because this kind of gives me that kind of like Starman kind of you know, technological alien AI kind of vibe. And then the Earth is kind of like more traditional. And it's funny as well, because in my little realm, it's kind of like the spruce forest up high near these kind of mountain tops, where, you know, they are really interested in innovation and technology and kind of what's beyond the earth, right? The stars and the planets and the sky. You know, they have like astrolabes and you know, astronomy equipment and observatories and stuff up there. It's like they're trying to understand, it's like they're trying to understand these higher energies, like what's out there. So this curiosity with that. And then like down below, kind of in the valley below, if you go through to the bottom of these mountains, you get kind of, the oak forest and kind of the laurel tree forest, and, the keepers of the earth, the kind of like druid types that live down there with the, oak trees, and, the idea of like, ancestral knowledge, the knowledge of the ones who've come before, like tried and tested methods, kind of like what's handed down to us. So traditions, beliefs, and things that are handed down to us, which feels very Capricorn, right? So it's almost like you've got these two sides of yourself kind of vying for attention, but it does feel like the side of you that is more earthy, right, very good at kind of like practical matters, perhaps this side of you has brought you some success in the area of earth, right? So like it's like earth and family. So being the Queen of Pentacles, for example, in the tarot, she tends to be very good at kind of keeping house and home. Her kids are well fed, they have their needs met, and there's that kind of like the love shown through like practical support, like stability, and a good education, and traditional values, and that kind of sturdy earthy support that the Mother of Pentacles can give to her family. And yeah, so it feels like very, very successful with this. It's like this is what's brought you into I can't find the cards. It's like this is what's brought you into the this part of yourself, right? The Emperor part of yourself. This seems to be the realm of this one. Maybe having a lot of people who look to you for leadership, or having, whether this is family, friends, your work family, whatever it is, they look to you for the decision making, for the leadership. What do we do next? It's like they look to you, and yet you seem to be. There's a side of you that feels more spiritual. There's a side of you that feels more like like the old kings of kind of the old kings of yore, where it's kind of like God put me on the throne and I'm God's mouthpiece, those old kind of kingly values. So it feels a little bit like you're tapping into the high priestess side of yourself. You're tapping into this spiritual awareness or higher knowledge, or looking for guidance, seeking guidance about, well, what happens next? What comes next? Where do we go from here? Like I've done what you wanted me to. I've achieved this level of success here on earth. So what happens next is kind of the way it's coming through, which I want to say is why you're kind of heading up to this place in the first place. But then, like I say, it's almost like sensing. It's almost like going for that higher awareness, or going for that kind of spirituality brings a storm in. Like I say, it's almost like choosing this. There could be some opposition, like there could be some people who question the change, right? It's kind of like, well, we've never done it like that before, so why are we doing it this kind of new way? And again, it feels like could be like technology. So for example, if you had like a family business, a family business, it's been in the family for generations. It's always been very kind of like hands-on. Say it was like woodworking. It's like we've always just made the furniture with our hands. And you seem to be saying, but we could look into technology, right? The computers could do it better. Think about like medicine. Medicine is a very, very traditional field of study, and a lot of the understanding that we have of medicine and like surgery and things like this come from it's handed down, not necessarily from fathers to son, but from through institutions like universities and schools of medicine and things like this. So this training and this knowledge is passed down from generation to generation, and so it's like you're reaching into the future, like what's in the future. And so there's some amazing technology that's helping in the field of medicine at the moment. There's some machines that can do, much finer surgery, kind of, because you can fine tune these machines to do very, very, like precision cuts. It's like where a surgeon's hand might shake, the computer's hand doesn't shake. It's like very precise, so it's better. And of course the surgeon will use the machine to tell the machine what to do, but there's it's that sort of thing. So it's like maybe, you know, we can get the machines to cut the furniture and we can be much more efficient. So it's like whatever it is for you, it's like you're stretching into this new era. You're like you want, you're curious. There's a thirst for you, in terms of um seeking out this knowledge. My cat's moving. My kids are home from school. Hang on, guys. Okay, I'm trying to like tidy up the cards now. Like, you know, find all the ones that you pushed off onto the floor. Okay, so, yeah. But you seem to have this like hunkering down. It's almost like in embracing the future, or an awareness that there's like a storm coming, right? So it's kind of, you've got that song Thunder. I can hear the thunder rumbling in, and then you've got like lightning. So it's kind of like you've been visited by something from the future. It's like the future is visiting you, but it's coming in with this this feeling of like we have to hunker down through the storm, right? While there's this change happening, because the next cards you've got are the Hermit card and the Four of Swords, which comes with this feeling of kind of like, you know, I need to go underground. I need to, maybe it's the idea of kind of like being out in the blizzard, right? It's like, oh, the storm's coming in. I can see the thunder and the lightning in the distance. There's going to be a blizzard, right? There's going to be, so I need to take shelter. This feels like taking shelter, because it's like I need to go into the cave, right? I need to kind of wait out the storm, with the Hermit and the Four of Swords. So especially with like the polar bear here a couple of times, you have this feeling of like hibernation. Like maybe you feel like I want to hide, right? I want to hide while this change happens, or you know, I want to go. I want to go unnoticed. I want to be in the background. I don't want to kind of put my head up over the pulpit, something like that. It's like I need to take this time to rest. I'm going to be on my own for a while, so I will rest. I will sleep until this storm passes. I mean, so it could be that there's a literal blizzard coming your way. I don't know where you are in the world, but you know, maybe if you are up a bit of a mountain, it could be. Oh gosh, that's so funny to me. Oh my God, I completely forgot. I was getting New York for you. Where are my notes? Look, New York, house sitter, you know, that Goldie Hawn movie. I don't know why I was thinking about that. I was thinking, I had this feeling of like, oh God, that's come through a few times now I think of it. So I was getting New York for you for some reason. And I think you get New York quite often. So I don't know, maybe there's a Capricorn who lives in New York, or you've got family in New York. But I just realized that I think they're in blizzard season, right? And New York gets so much snow. Like sometimes I see my friends in New York posting pictures, and it's like, I'm so jealous, because like it just looks, I like, snow's so fun to me. And I know it can kind of be really like a nuisance if you're not used to it. It can kind of like slow services down and things like this. But you know, again, it's that kind of thing of like, it's good and bad. Like it's a lot of fun, but it can be dangerous, which seems to be the energy of your reading. A lot of fun, but can be dangerous. That's Capricorns in a nutshell at the moment, I think. But yeah, it's so funny. So I was thinking like there could be something. I was getting this scenario where it's like somebody had like an apartment in New York, and they were gonna be away. It's like, I want to get out of the city before the blizzard comes, so I'm gonna go away and visit family, but I need somebody to like house sit for me, or like, you know, like the maid coming in and cleaning the apartment. It's like somebody who's still gonna be like in the apartment, kind of like turning the heating on, keeping it warm. So it's like someone needed a house sitter while they were not there. I don't know. It's so funny to me, because I think New York is literally having a blizzard right now. And then like I was kind of getting this thing in the meditation today where it's kind of like, I saw this video of this girl, and I think she was in New York, and she had a kettle. It's like a really recent video, and she's like pouring it like this. And as she's pouring the kettle, it like magic, right? It's almost like it's magic, but because boiling water, I think, freezes faster than cold water, because it's like the molecules are more further apart, right? So like the surface area is bigger or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember my physics. So it's like she was able to kind of like pour the boiling water, and as she kind of like did this and spiraled it, the water kind of froze like this into like a spiral. It was like magic. And so this kind of like that shifting ice energy that I'm imagining at the top of the mountain. And so yeah, so I feel like, yeah, New York could definitely be something for someone. That was really long-winded, I'm sorry. Because it could be like, I'm not going to be, I'm leaving the city because, you know, for the snowy season, I need somebody to look after my animals, because you've got all this, like, I need someone to like house sit my animals, something like that. And then it's kind of like, you know, like not being able to, you know, having to stay there, like not maybe being a bit snowed in and not being able to kind of like leave. So it's like, well, I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep. And then, like I say, it seems like there's this offer of magic. You know, it seems like the Aquarian energy, like one of these two minds seems to be coming in, maybe in your sleep, like while you're sleeping. It's like you're getting visited by this one that seems to be saying, I'm offering you magic. I am offering you. Can you see how it's not just magic? It's kind of like, it's like technology, right? It's like like I say, almost like an astrolabe, or, you know, like a star chart. Like there's this one that seems to be saying, you know, while you're at home with your family all snowed in, why don't you study this? Why don't you, like, the magic's in your hands or something like that. And then with the Four of Water, the Four of Cups, it's almost like not taking this offer. It's almost like you're rejecting it, right? You're saying, no, that's not for me. That's not what I do. I'm earthy. I'm practical. I'm not, you know, I'm not the alchemist. And yeah, it seems like there's this secret being shared with you, right? It's like there's this one that's coming to you saying, take the magic, you know, embrace. It's almost like a siren, right? It's almost like, you know, the music that you're listening to, you can hear it and it's drawing you in, but you're trying to resist. And there could be something about, I'm not quite sure why the fire's here. I mean, it does talk about competition. It's sort of, the Five of Fire is about kind of, sometimes it can be quite physical. It's kind of like the need to kind of shoulder your way to the top. The need to, you know, you'll need to win. It's like a very kind of Aries energy. It's like, I need to be first. I need to win. I need to win the race. I need to be, I need to win the competition. I need to be the best. I need to be first. I'm going to beat off the competition so that I can win. You know, it's a competitive energy. So I don't know if there's, again, this idea of like things competing. But again, it's like this offer, and the offer seems to be, I'm giving you the magic so that you can tame the wind. And the wind kind of can, like I say, the wind and air can be kind of like swords energy. So it's kind of like, I'm going to help you tame your mind, or I'm going to help you tame this new realm, right? So it's kind of like you've conquered the earth and now it's time to conquer the sky is the message. And like I say, it feels like maybe you've declined an offer before. You know, it's kind of like you've gone, no, that's not for me. You know, I've tried things like this before and it hasn't worked out for me. So it could be something like, you know, you've tried horoscopes or tarot, or, you know, maybe you've gone to a psychic before and you thought, oh, that wasn't great. It might just be that you've got a duff psychic, you know, someone who's not really psychic. And so it's kind of like, well, but it's like you keep looking at it. It looks to me like, you know, you miss it, right? You've rejected something. And the funny thing is as well, the Hermit card talks about connecting to higher energies within ourselves, right? So connecting to our own higher self, connecting to the God within, right? So it's like not looking for answers outside of yourself, but you know, sitting alone in meditation and letting God come to you, that kind of thing. So it's like, you know, you're doing that, you're either sleeping or meditating or spending time alone, and every time you do, it's like this energy comes to you with this offer, and you keep, but then it's like you pull back. Like, I want to say it's like you get defensive, right? With the Seven of Wands, it's like, no, I need to beat the sirens, so I need to beat them back or something. But every time you reject it and every time it goes away, every time you go away, I take a piece of me, you take a piece of me with you. I don't know, it could be something to that. But can you see, it's like the Seven of Cups, it's this card of not feeling satisfied. It's like, well, it's a card, actually, I'm reading it as the Eight of Cups. I don't know why. Maybe because the image looks a bit like the Eight of Cups. The Seven of Cups is like options, it's choices. So maybe you've got a lot of options, you've got a lot of choices. Maybe there is a lot of competition, perhaps for your attention. Maybe you are beating them off with a stick, right? Especially if you've done quite well for yourself. If you're quite successful, you know, people want to be close to success, right? They want a piece of it. So it's like people want a piece of you or something. Yeah, so like a lot of offers, could be like a lot of people want to date you, like your phone's pinging up if you're on any kind of dating apps. But it's kind of, again, I'm reading like the Eight of Cups, it's like there's something missing, because it's this feeling of like, but there's something out there, like I've had a piece of it. It's like, or maybe it's like, where's the magic? But where's the magic? Like, I want the magic. And maybe it's that kind of thing of like, you might have a lot of attention, but the spark's not there. So feels a bit like rejecting something. And then, I mean, what's meant for you will come back around, right? Even if you reject it, it just means it takes longer to get going. I don't know. But like I say, with Taming the Wind, it's like this idea of kind of, I've conquered the earth, right? I've had success, like maybe a successful family. It's like the earth is under your control, is the way it's coming through. So the next step is to tame the wind, to tame, to master the realm of magic. It makes me think of Prospero, Dr. Faustus or Prospero, these kind of wizards and who are not satisfied. It's like, I've learned everything. So I think in Dr. Faustus by what's his name? Is it like Thomas? It's not Marlowe, is it? It's who does Faustus? Give me a second. Oh, I was right first time. It is Marlowe. The Tragical History of the Life and Death of Dr. Faustus. An Elizabethan Tragedy by Christopher Marlowe. So yeah, the character of Faustus is he talks about, at one point in the play, he's saying, I've studied medicine, I've studied science, I've studied everything, and the only thing left for me to study is the arcane, right? It's like the magic. And like Prospero as well, right? It's like taming the earth and the wind and the sea. So it's kind of like, this is what's next for you. This is the only land left unconquered, in a way. And so again, it's this idea of kind of like, you might have to defend your decision here. Like, other people may not like your decision to explore this area. So it could be, for example, I've been talking about AI art. It's very, very controversial because people see it as stealing people's artwork or taking people's jobs, but people also said this about like the Industrial Revolution, right? Or there's so many examples throughout history where there's been a technological leap, a technological advancement, and yes, it changes lifestyles, right? And sometimes it does. The way we used to do a job changes, and it becomes more efficient, and it becomes more profitable. So there could be something, again, if you have some kind of business, it could be that there's this technological leap coming forward, possibly to do with AI. And you don't want to get kind of like left in the wake, right? You don't want to be you want to be ahead of the curve. You don't want to be chasing everybody else who's more successful because they're quick off the mark. So it could be something like that, where the way I see it, the way I think it's going to go is, how people have um like VR, people have like, what's the thing, the Facebook thing, I can't think what it's called, the metaverse. I think there's going to be like online, the way game playing is going to be, it's going to be like online worlds, similar to how you do an online world with your VR. But I think it's going to be where, like how you can get an AI image very, very quickly. It's like within a matter of seconds, you put the prompt in and the AI, in less than a minute will generate an image based on what you asked it to. I think we're going to be able to play games and create our own fantasy worlds just through a prompt, saying, okay, create me, like how I went into meditation and I said, I found myself on a mountain, on a blizzardy mountain. It's kind of like I can create that environment very, very quickly because computers can do things quickly, right? So it's kind of like auto-generating a terrain, auto-generating a world, auto-generating the environment based on the input of the player, which takes out a lot of I've done world building. Again, I really like computers. So when I used to play Tomb Raider, I remember, I think it was Tomb Raider 3 back in the day, came with a level editor. You could make your own Tomb Raider game using this level editor. So I found that much more enjoyable to play than the game itself. Like, of course, I'd played through the game maybe in a couple of days and then spent months with the level editor because I really enjoyed the creative process of world building, you know, and creating my own environments. And so I did the same with The Sims, with The Sims 3. Why is it always 3, right? Tomb Raider 3, The Sims 3. The Sims 3 came with a world building tool where you could build the entire map, you know, yourself, you know, from scratch. You start off with a blank, kind of like Minecraft. If you've ever played Minecraft, you can generate a completely flat map with like a grid, and then you can go in and kind of like sculpt the mountains and, you know, whatever it is you want to do yourself. So very similar to that, right? And so all these builders I find really enjoyable, even kind of like talking about World of Warcraft. I think I had an old, I don't know if it was World of Warcraft, but it was one of these strategy games where, you know, you've got orcs and wizards and things like that. And it's a very old kind of like 2D version of it. And even that had like a level editor and you could build your own world. So that's always a really enjoyable thing for me to do. And it's very, very time consuming. And, you know, you have to master the skill, you know, the skills and the tools and the things to do it. So, the idea of just being able to say, hey, you know, computer, AI, generate me, um, so excuse me, so sorry guys, generate me a snowy mountain range, you know, you know, you've got this mountain that looks like this, you know, you've got this valley, this is what the map looks like, and the computer can just do that. And if there's a bit that you don't like, it's like, right, edit this bit, change this, keep this, and you can create your own worlds probably very, very quickly, I think is the way it's going to go. So, and I think there's really good practical applications for that. So I know that in things like Star Trek, I've seen, you know, they've got like the big hologram room where they go in and they kind of, you know, whether it's kind of say, you know, this is something that soldiers are going to be able to use to kind of simulate a battlefield, or it's, you know, you could go back to something that happened in your childhood and relive it in a way that's cathartic for you, where you role play and change the situation. You know, I think there's all these different you know, practical applications, in terms of like the way that technology is going to go. You know, maybe you can't meet up with your family, but you can create your family living room base. You could, you know, you could give the AI photographs, or, you know, film your environment, and the AI could create your house in a computer, and everybody, you know, around the world from your family, your friends, could all just put on their headsets and all go and meet each other in this space. So I do think I do think this is the way that computers are going to go. And so, you know, there's all this potential, and to me, it's really, really exciting. And I do think, again, it's this idea of kind of, you want to be ahead of the curve with this. It's like that's how you're going to be successful with it, because technology moves very, very quickly. Right, okay, going into the next section then. So I don't know why the equator's here to make equal, but the equator's the wrong way round. You can see, I don't want to talk about skin color because I don't think that this is what this is about. I think, you know, the white horse and the black horse kind of thing. There seems to be something about, again, your own Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Your own two minds about this, where I think, you know, maybe the practical side of yourself, the side of yourself that is very traditional, you know, that shows up, that's very successful, the side of yourself that people see, because Capricorn rules reputation. You know, people celebrate you for, I don't know, being a good mum, being a good dad, being a good boss. You know, these things that are celebrated, you know, the work you do is celebrated, the money you earn is celebrated, all these kind of practical earthy matters are celebrated. But the part of you that wants to explore this perhaps faces resistance, right? This is not celebrated. The magic part of yourself is not celebrated, because again, if you come from a very you've had the priest card come out, so it's like if you come from a very traditional religion, it could be that magic is the devil's work, right? So it's kind of, you know, this side of yourself is not being it's not being given the attention that it's demanding. You know, you're ignoring your own shadow to a certain extent, because you're associating this. It's like you've got two heads, right? It's kind of like, you know, they're showing me like I don't know if you've ever seen like the gates of Janus. The Janus from Roman mythology is the god of like gateways and pathways, like the god of new beginnings. Again, it's kind of like, look at the underlying, right? It's like you know, the ritual to open the door so you can have a new beginning is the way it's looking to me. So it's kind of like the god Janus has, one head looking backwards towards the past and one head looking forwards towards the future. And this seems to be what you're doing. And I know this comes through for you a lot, Capricorn. It's not the first time I've used this motif for you. But you sometimes get through, because, if my guides are wanting me to say something to you and share a certain motif with you, a certain metaphor, sometimes they show me certain things. So I'm being shown kind of the very famous temple, I don't know why I'm saying temple, the very famous statue of Aeneas carrying his father on his shoulder and leading his son by the hand, which is symbolic of this hero of Roman mythology. Shouldering his responsibilities, being proud of his ancestry, carrying his father on his shoulder. It's kind of like being proud of who he is and his his past and his customs, because of course he's fleeing Troy, and so he has to take his culture with him when he moves, basically. So he has to keep his culture alive because he's having to flee his home. And then he's leading his son by his hand because he's in charge of the future. He's in charge of making the decisions to shape the future and pass down the traditions that are valuable to his son and leave the ones that are not valuable behind. And I know this isn't the first time this has come through for you. So at this point in the reading, we switch to, again, you've got this, again, just got this feeling of like two different directions, two minds, but it's not meant to be, they're not meant to be opposing forces. They're meant to be compatible. It's like these two minds are meant to be held within one person, a bit like the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain. It's like these energies are meant to, yes, these energies are supposed to have different opinions, but they're supposed to be embodied in one thing, is the way it's coming through. And you're in charge, you're in control of making sure both of these opinions or values are in the same fishbowl, is the way it's coming through. But it's like they've got their own wriggle room, they've got their own space to swim. They're not I'm not sure, I think I can hear my son. Okay, so like I say, it's like a part of you that's not being given like it's Jack, all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. It's kind of like like there's an aspect of you that's not being given it's equal share, right? It's equal balance. The equator is not equal here. But then the magic happens, and it's something to do with it's like animal magic. So again, I've been playing Baldur's Gate, I've been playing D&D, and there's certain kind of like druids and things that can talk to the animals. And again, remember, my meditation started with you. I say they're a hunter, but it's like the hunters in this region for me are, those kind of old-fashioned hunters who respect the land and who hunt through necessity and with a respect for nature. It's kind of like the part of this entire ecosystem that keeps itself in balance. With there's if you think about kind of how we mass produce like the meat industry. I've been talking about this with my boss in work, like battery chicken farms, or these big stretches of land in the American Midwest that are just like slaughtering cattle, and raising cattle to feed us a burger a week, 2-3 burgers a week sometimes. And it's not normal to be eating that amount of meat, and we're not farming meat in a way that respects nature. And so even though I'm vegetarian and was vegan for a while, and I do respect vegan values, even though I have those values that kind of want to respect nature and animals and things like that, and I don't want to consume animals, I don't want to eat meat, basically. I don't want to take a life to sustain my life. Even though those are my values, I can still see how, traditional kind of caveman or old-fashioned hunting, where, the fur is used to create clothing or to provide bedding or to make huts waterproof or whatever it is, and the bones are used to make tools, and, those old-fashioned values of not over-hunting and understanding nature as well, understanding that, if you over-hunt, you know, like think of like wolves and things in Yellowstone Park where, you know, like one sort of thing was overhunted, so you got an overpopulation of another thing. You know, it's kind of like keeping things in balance, keeping the ecosystem in balance is really, really important. So there seems to be something about nature and animals, and like I say, these kind of characters in D&D, and you know, like the druids and things like this that have those kind of, I don't know if it's like survival skills, you know, like how to build a campfire, what berries to eat, if you get, if you get a cut or a wound, what plants are going to be medicine for that, what's going to disinfect it, and kind of understanding kind of natural medicine and all these things. But it seems to be specifically focused on animals. So I think in the past you've had this kind of Dr. Dolittle thing coming through. I'm sure I've mentioned that in your readings before, and Sagittarius as well get this. So it's kind of like there's this spell where you can like speak to animals and it has that kind of feeling of all those animal smells animal smells, maybe. And maybe it's like tracking, maybe it's like this animal poo, it comes from deer, this animal poo comes from elephants, right? It's like, it smells different, the texture's different, I don't know what. Like how sometimes, like, you see kind of like survival experts and trackers, they'll like look through the poo to see what berries have been eaten and things like that. It's like, think of like, Jurassic Park where they're like inspecting the poo. This is looking to me now, though, because she's got this red hair in both of these. It's looking to me like a child growing up to an adult, surrounded by pets. So it could be that you're very in tune with animals, very in tune with pets. It's funny because when my son was giggling then, he was giggling because he was giving the cat cuddles and the cat was lying on him and, getting very comfortable with him. Maybe you are very in tune with nature. Again, you're in charge of the earth, right? You're the earth keeper, you're the earth leader. This is where you've had the success. So it's almost like part of your magic. Maybe you already have magic, right? Maybe you don't have to go to this other realm to have their magic, because you've got your own magic, and your magic is perhaps earth magic. Because you've got these two magic cards, right? Alchemy and magic, moonlight enchantment and magic. And just look at the consistency of these cards. You've got these wolves again in this kind of terrain, and it's kind of this summoning. So it could be like summoning your friends, summoning your family, or summoning your own, or it's like recognizing like how spirit works through animals, right? So if this is representative of your own soul, this is the mask you wear, but this is your soul, this is your higher self. It's almost like calling it in, right? Like taking a different form, like again in Baldur's Gate and things, it's like you can take an animal form. It's kind of like my character, for example, turned into a spider and a wolf and things like this. So it's kind of like the spirit being able to take a different form. I can't explain it any more than that. But then it's amazing because this is like the Watcher, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's something like creating the spells, doing the portal, so that so that your family, your pets, your animals can come through. Do you see how I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying with that? It's like your spirit guides coming to you in the form of pets, something like that. And then you've got fierceness and wolverine. It's crazy because, like I say, there's so many animals in this reading, companionship animals, and there's so many. And then in this section here, it's all animals. All these 6 cards together are all animals. So you've got this wolf with the magic card, the Watcher with the snow leopard, the wolverine with fierceness, and then from 4 of these animals are all white. So you've got freedom and horse with my cat hair on it, polar bear, which talks about ancestry, and then the Knight of Cups with the swan. So it's like your magic, you can magically transform into, it's like you can magically, because I'm seeing like the wolverine as the bear, it's like you can magically transform into these four characters, right? These 4 creatures. Like, do you want to be a horse, a snow leopard, a polar bear, or a swan? It's like, these are the 4 creatures that you can transform into. And like with pressure as well and transformation. I don't know, it's like, I can't explain exactly what's happening at this point of the reading, because it is coming through as like magic. It's like magically transforming into this other it's like transforming into this second self, this second phase, this second mind. So another reason why I'm kind of saying this is the next card. I'm so excited. It's like the reading's actually very, very concise. The next card that comes through is Hunger with Vampire. Now, the story that I'm attaching to this today is that, I mean, I don't know, maybe you're playing Baldur's Gate and you're playing as a certain character, right? Beginning with A. Like, I don't know, he's got teeth like this. So I don't, no spoilers. So I've just given you spoilers. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So anyway, Hunger Vampire. So my kid, my eldest, yesterday was playing D&D with the friends, and they were playing as a vampire, but they were a good vampire, and they were playing with a paladin who would kill anything that was like demonic on sight. So they had to keep the fact that they were a vampire hidden, basically, for like 3 or 4 gameplay days. Like, they were playing for a few hours, but these few hours were like a few days in this role playing game, and so he had to keep his vampireness hidden. But my child was playing as a he, and so my kid was telling me, they didn't have the chance to feed, so the more days went on, like the first day it was fine, the second day, the third day, they were starting to get hungry, and they said it's like in The Sims when the vampire, if they don't feed in enough, an appropriate space of time, the madness takes over, right? It's kind of like they lose control and just bite the first thing that's closest to them. So my eldest said, and that's kind of what happened. They went out and they were hunting this deer, and my child rolled the die low, and failed at the throw, and the character lost control and went for this deer. And so what this is telling me, like I said, you've got this kind of like all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, being very responsible, being this person who's in control of something, but you've got this side of you that is getting hungrier and hungrier. Again, I'm reading this as like the 8 of Cups. It's like, but you want that thing, right? You want that thing. It's getting hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. So it's feeling to me like there's this moment of like transformation that can't be controlled, because next to this card, well, you've got the transformation card, right? Pressure, transformation. It's like you're under too much pressure. Perhaps you're under too much stress, right? Too much stress to uphold this persona, to keep this mask on, a bit like Jim Carrey with the mask. It's like you can only be this version of yourself for a certain amount of time before the other version of yourself needs to take the reins, like this, right? It's kind of like, who's getting the reins today, which character is coming through. So that's what it's looking to me like with these cards and transformation pressure. It's like the hunger gets too strong, right? And then there's this transformation that takes place. It's looking to me like like when in fantasy games someone transforms into an animal. It's like this burst of energy, and then the transformation happens, because now the reading actually ends unbelievably with werewolf. And again, I've not set any of this up. This is exactly how the cards come out. It's like, your animal side needs to come out to play. Your animal nature needs to come out to play. So again, it could be that you've been, I don't know why it's coming out almost the opposite way there. It's like your Aquarius side needs to come out to play. So it's almost like you've been in werewolf form too long, almost, or you've been in beast mode too long. If you want to talk about, maybe you're bossing, like if you're on fire, be on fire. It's kind of like if you're bossing it, if you're going through a phase of your life where you're being really successful, you're being very hands-on, you're being very you're getting a lot done in a short space of time or something like that. It's almost like your higher self needs to come through. So maybe you've been head down doing the work, but it's kind of like your more creative side needs to come out, or your more maybe if it's all work, it's like your party side needs to come out, something, I don't know, something like that with the change in the werewolf. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It really feels like only being able to stay in one form for a certain amount of time before you need to switch. The switch needs to happen in whichever direction it's switching in, right? The transformation takes place. Like it just looks like, it just really, really looks like a werewolf or something to me, right? It's kind of like, look at the imagery, and I'm not making this up. This is exactly how it came through, right? That is giving me the transformation takes place. And again, it could be very interesting for you, to my Capricorns out there. Um, Especially if you've got Aquarius placements, as Pluto, which is this planet of death and transformation, as Pluto moves from Capricorn, and Pluto is a slow moving planet. In total, it sits in one sign for, you know, 15 years. It depends. I think it's something like 11 to 20 years. It depends on which sign it is and what, how it's moving. But it's a big generational planet. It has a big effect on things. And so with Pluto moving out of Capricorn for the last time into Aquarius, within the next couple of months, I think it's like January, February, which funnily enough is around the time that the sun moves from Capricorn to Aquarius. We're having this, and isn't that interesting itself? The sun, which is, this orb of light, it's this, if the sun is anything, it's light, right? And this planet Pluto, which is this planet of darkness, right, and death and destruction. It's kind of like God and the devil almost, moving together. Maybe that's what it is, right? Like moving together, these two planets moving together at the same time, forward from Capricorn to Aquarius, roughly. I mean, the sun moves much more quickly than Pluto, but they've kind of come into alignment to make this big shift, which I think is going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating to see then, what the next 10-20 years have in store for us, especially in terms of technological advancement, because this is the house that Aquarius rules. What changes and transformations are going to take place in that. I just think it's going to be absolutely fascinating. So the only card that I've not shown you is regeneration and Hydra. It's almost like Doctor Who, right? It's almost like, when Doctor Who regenerates, it's like this big kind of gold light. It's like this regeneration of, thinking just in terms of, because it's the theme of this set of readings. So, for example, if you're playing with a character, in something like Baldur's Gate or D&D, and you turn into your animal form, you get the hit points of the animal. So say, for example, you have 20 hit points, which is kind of like life points, right? Hearts. If you're thinking like Mario, it's like you get so many hearts, right? So sort of, it's health points, right? Hit points, health points. And then if you turn into your animal form, it's like say that animal has 10 health points, so you'd have actually a total of 30 health points at that point, because once the animal hits 0 health points, it's like you revert back to your human form, and you can carry on going with that. So I don't know, it's like regenerating, and it's like the Hydra, right? It's like this, it's like this monster. It's like you're regenerating as the monster in some sort of way, but not in a bad way. Sort of a bit like, think about vampires, right? They have a metaphorical death. If you're a human, you're like based on a variety of different law, right? There's contradicting laws. Some, generally speaking, a lot of the law around vampires is like, when you die, when you become a vampire, your human body dies, and the vampire takes over, right? It's kind of the death of one state of being in order to transform into the other self. It's like funny with the vampire and the werewolf, these, changing form. But like I say, it doesn't feel bad, because these two cards, pleasure and electricity and wildness, it's like it feels good to let your wild side out. It feels good to let, your more animalistic side out. So it could be, right, it could be the idea of kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's kind of like leashing it, tethering that beast within and kind of keeping it in line while you do a certain job, or builds a certain successful family for yourself or something like that. But then that darkness, if it's not given, Carl Jung and the shadow, if we ignore our shadow, if we sit too much in our super ego, it's like the tension builds, right? It's like that those needs have to be somewhere. So it's kind of like with the priest as well. It's almost like for example, like a vow of celibacy, it's almost like not having it makes you want it more. Not in every case, but like the way it's being shown to me. Or let's talk about it in a very more understandable way. Say for example, when I was vegetarian, when I first became vegetarian vegan, actually, I craved those old foods, like the smell of bacon. Would be so, I would be like, I want to eat the bacon. And I really really missed the cheeses and the meats and things like this. On when I gave up alcohol, which I was teetotal for probably over a year, going from drinking every day to being teetotal, it was kind of easy for me. But the idea of kind of, or when I was pregnant, right, it's kind of like having to give something up for a while. Sometimes it can make you crave it more, because it's like, instead of just being like, oh, I'll just have a glass, or, the chocolate biscuits in the cupboard, I'll just have one or two. It's kind of like all you can think about is the chocolate biscuits in the cupboard. So it's kind of like, and then you binge, right? It's then you kind of like overindulge in that thing. So, but it brings you a lot of pleasure, to eat that entire box of biscuits, it brings me a lot of pleasure. So it was one of my friends who overindulged too much, at Christmas, and I was saying, well, there must have been something cathartic in it for you. And I'm not excusing it. Obviously, if you have some kind of addiction, then this is the point where you need to be speaking to your support systems, and getting guidance with that. Not just kind of being like, it's not happening, I'm going to push it under the rug. No, that's not. And again, there's the songs that you had through were saying, I accept you as is, exactly as you are. Kind of, you don't have to be wholly good, but I don't see you as wholly bad. I see you as a human who has, good characteristics and flaws, because that's what it is to be human. So, and that doesn't mean you're giving your beast, your bad side free reign, but it does mean that you can admit it, and you can, be honest about your faults, and the parts of yourself that maybe aren't so great. She says, if you're an asshole, just admit you're an asshole. And so your friends will accept you. And I think maybe that's the main message of the reading. But I am pulling cards on camera for people, so let's go ahead and get the Dungeons and Dragons deck, which is I think it's like the official Dungeons and Dragons tarot. My eldest gave it to me as a gift, and I love it. So what do we have for Capricorn at this point? What's the message for Capricorn for the first part of 2024? And I feel like 2024 is going to be such a good year. I'm so excited. The 8 of Charisma. You've got the Riz Caps. Let's have a look what this says. Like the blacksmith as well. Love it. Paying attention to doing the simple things well. Slow and steady wins the race. Interesting, because I feel like you've been doing the whole slow and steady thing, which is why you kind of want to go out and have some fun. It says, a dwarven forge master has had her magical hammer stolen and is asking for your help. In return, she'll forge you a weapon. Okay, so that is, make of that what you will. Maybe you are kind of like perfecting your craft. Maybe there is something that you've kind of been mastering, especially in terms of, the earthy things, the practical things. It could be your job. You've been mastering your job or a hobby. What do we have for Caps, please? What do we have for Capricorn, please? Thank you. The Morning Dew Girl. Okay, I don't know. I'm not getting much from that. House of Flowers on the underline of that. So this is the Oracle of Mystical Moments. Morning Dew Girl. Face your fears. Awareness of fears. Yeah, that's what it is, right? Don't ignore them. Awareness, consciousness. The woman on this card collects fat raindrops in a basket of leaves. She is called Morning Dew Girl, and she symbolizes the receiving and the absorption of all worries and fears. She invites us to start sharing our feelings and worries. We can collect them and deal with them instead of hiding them deep inside. That's what he said. Like, that's what I said right at the beginning. Like, originally, that idea of kind of like the king with two minds. It's kind of like, the people want the king of pentacles, right? But, he's also the king of swords. So it's like, but if I make decisions based on my logic and reason, the people who want the earthly things from me are going to object to that, right? It's going to damage my, it's like it'll damage my reputation if people find out I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? It's kind of like, you know, people want Dr. Jekyll, but, you know, so I need to hide Mr. Hyde. You know, it's kind of like hiding the part of yourself that people disapprove of, something like that. And, you know, having a lot of fears around this, it's almost like it's like you need acceptance is what you're needing at this time. We collect them and deal with them instead of hiding them deep inside. She stands resolute. So I feel like something that you've been hiding deep inside, you know, the pressure of it is forcing a change. While fear can be as powerful as a river once confronted, it can turn out to be as small as a drop of dew. Isn't that so funny? It's kind of like, okay, because they're both wolves. You start and end with the wolf. Okay. It's like it's a part of you, right? It's part of you, your family. It's part of who you are, or something that comes naturally to you that you've been trying to... It's like something that comes naturally to you and you've been trying to reject it or something. I'm not sure. Maybe you are from a family of hunters. I don't know. And you know, like your higher self is like, no, that's bad, don't do that. And then it's like, but the instinct to hunt is that, I don't know. Oh, dispel magic. How funny, because it's like the magic's trying to come through, right? And you've got dispel magic and compulsion. Oh my god, compulsion. Okay, so the spells that have come out for you from the Bard deck, so we'll interpret this as we see fit. It says, choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range. Excuse me. So dispelling magic. Is it a creature pretending to be human or a human pretending to be a creature? I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's some kind of magic that's, you know, the sorcerer's done some magic that's distorting how you see something. So like if you dispel the magic, you'll be able to see it clearly. I don't know. How interesting. Compulsion. Creatures of your choice that you can see within a range and that can hear you must make a wisdom saving throw. A target automatically succeeds on this throw, blah, blah, blah. They can't be charmed. So it doesn't say really what exactly the spell does. I'm not sure what that spell does exactly, compulsion, but it feels like you have a compulsion, right? That you're trying to push down. Okay. Maybe it is. Maybe it's like, you know, your partner's vegetarian and you really like eating meat. So like when they're not looking, you kind of like go and getting a burger. It's kind of like you don't want them to know. It could be something like that. Okay, I'm going to get you a song on camera. We'll see what comes through for you. This can be your advice. Take it as it resonates. Leave it if it doesn't. Do you know what we haven't done actually? We've not got you any Latin words. I'm hearing 3. So this could be your initials. It could be the initials of people around you. It could kind of spell out a word. It could be an acronym. Take it as it resonates. Leave it if it doesn't. Doesn't have to be a reading, so don't force it to fit. You've got, oh, whatever you want it to be. Or something that's a secret. Interesting. I. And L. I don't know. And I'm hearing 2 words for you. So let's get you some words out. I can't see what the words are until they come out. What are the words for caps? I'm curious to do Aquarius's reading now at this point. 1,000. That immediately gave me, just because you've got vampire, when I saw 1,000, it immediately gave me that song, is it like Khalees and who did Hey Outcast, where it's Dracula's wedding, where it's like, you're all I've ever wanted, but I'm terrified of you. Your castle may be haunted, but I'm terrified of you. Because they're like 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Give me a chance to find romance. Don't run, I'm not the sun. There's too much at stake for you. Bad choice of words. But I'm not the sun. Silver bullets, but you can count. And I make great peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That helps. Funny song. Outcast. Maybe you feel like you're an outcast, or you're scared of being outcasted for something. Are we getting another word? What's happening here? I know oh, okay, apparently we're getting quite a few. Autumn. Go. And. Okay, I did say I was going to pull a word. It's funny that I've got 2 and now you've got like 6. These. I don't know. Don't know what that means. It's not a message for me, it's a message for you. I don't have to be able to interpret it. Let's get you a song. What do we have for caps, please? I'm getting tired. I need food. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's an advert for Apple. I don't know if you can see this. Let me just turn the volume down. That's mad. Right, okay. That's so funny. Because look, there's this cup with a heart in it. And then you've got like vampire, right? And then look at the advert. Look at the advert. Ah, guys. Oh my god. Right, I'm just gonna let this play. I've turned it down, so I'm just gonna let the adverts play through. Heart rate notification. Watch your heart. Pay attention to your heart health. Maybe you do need to get, you know, one of these. It doesn't have to be Apple, but you can get one of these like monitor watches. The monitors like your heart rate, you know, things like that. So the song for you is finally got through the advert. So it's What If I Love You. Oh, I love this song. I think it's that, what if I love you way too much? Yeah. They say it's once in a lifetime. You only get one. So I guess that I'm done for life. And you're doing fine. Maybe it is heart, right? You only get one heart, but you know, the heart transplants are a thing. I don't know. They say it's once in a lifetime. You get one, so I guess I'm done for life. And you're doing just fine. I knew you would. I bet she looks good tonight. Everybody knows you in the city. Every street is bringing back a memory. I wish I'd run into you accidentally. Still looking for your car. Just kill me. I mean, don't kill anyone, obviously. Like, we're talking about role-playing games and stuff here, guys. By now I should be okay. That's easy for you to say. What if I loved you? What if I loved you way too much? They say it's once in a lifetime, but does it really count if you were like, never mind? And I'm being too nice, dropping it all just to see you tonight. Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Make of it what you will. It's your reading, not my reading. I hope it's helpful to you. I don't know. I feel like there's something else. I feel like there's something else. Let's go ahead and get you one more card. Because I am curious about something. Ten of Wands, Page of Wands, and the Four of Swords. It feels like you're some kind of responsibility that you had to put down, right? Something that had to end. And then feels like somebody witnessing this or ending something because of your responsibilities, somebody witnessing this or studying or learning, and then healing. Resting, seeing something and then having to like collect your thoughts on it, having to because this is like studying information, collecting information, and then kind of like this is kind of like processing your thoughts. Okay. Ace of Wands. And there's something new unlocking. Yeah, it's like the letting go of something old so that something new can come in. I don't know. I hope this is helpful. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of your heart health. Take care of your pets, your animals, and I will see you again soon. And I'm so excited to see what Aquarius's reading is gonna say, because I feel like that's where the shift's going. And like, not to say that you're being left behind in any sort of way, but I feel like there is a transformation that's happening with you, just because there's so much happening kind of with the planets in your sign, as Pluto kind of like leaves you alone basically and moves on to Aquarius. It's kind of like, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go. Take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye, friends.